Now, on Emeritus Newsbrief, I'm Lynn Houston. Workers' paychecks continue to lose ground. The Federal Reserve puts a hold on interest rates, and the fight continues in the Senate over health insurance reform. Senate Democratic leaders continue to wheel and deal to finish a bill before the Christmas break. In the meantime, they're attacking Republicans.
It just tells you the lengths they'll go to slow down the orderly business of the United States Senate. If there's any idea or any question in your mind about motive and what's behind this, I have in my hand a smoking tweet from Senator Jim DeMint. Tweeted the following: "If Reid won't slow down this debate, we'll do it for him." End of tweet. Next smoking tweet from Senator DeMint: "Colburn forced Dems to read 767-page Sanders amendment. We'll do everything we can to stop this government takeover of health care." So this is no accident, and it certainly isn't the decision of one senator from Oklahoma. This is a strategy by the Republican leadership which not only endangers the passage of health care reform, it endangers the enactment of the Department of Defense appropriation bill, which is critically important to our men and women in uniform. It endangers the extension of unemployment benefits, which millions of Americans are counting on.
I will say this, though, at the risk of being redundant. There's 60 of them and only 40 of us. And their problem is not the 40 of us. Their problem is the American people, who are saying to them quite loudly and consistently in all the polls, do not pass this bill. If they can get all of their members together, they can defy the wishes of the American people and pass it.
President Obama has announced his intention to form a bipartisan commission on reducing the deficit, one that would have more clout getting results in Congress. A report from the Peterson-Pew Commission on budget reform says the U.S. needs to get a handle on its debt, much of it related to medical costs, within the next 10 years or face a potential financial disaster. The report finds the recession and joblessness will keep the country from tackling the issue immediately, but says Congress will have to make progress by 2018. A direct link to the Peterson-Pew report on the Emeritus News National World page. The Federal Reserve announces it is keeping its target range for the federal funds rate at between 0 to 0.25%. The Fed saying that household spending appears to be expanding at a moderate rate, though it remains constrained by a weak labor market. Businesses are still cutting back on fixed investment and remain reluctant to add to payrolls. More on the Emeritus News business page. Energy consumption projections take a glance at what this country will be doing 25 years from now. A report prepared for the U.S. Energy Information Administration says that imported oil will be cut by 45% within the next 25 years as increased domestic oil production and biofuels pick up the slack. And the report says alternative fuel vehicles will make up about half of vehicle sales in 25 years. More on that story on the Emeritus News business page. The U.S. Commission on Civil Rights deciding to widen their probe of admissions policies at 19 Washington, D.C. area colleges. The move comes amid complaints colleges are accepting far more men than women. But some college admission officials are privately admitting it's because far more men drop out of college by their junior year, which causes the national average of graduating seniors to be 57% women, 43% men. A total opposite from the graduating percentages of the late 1960s, when men had the higher graduating percentage. The CDC recalling doses of vaccine for children ages 6 months to 3 years. The problem, the manufacturer claims the effectiveness of some of the doses is not up to standards. The manufacturer has identified those doses and says those already inoculated do not need to be re-inoculated. More on the Emeritus News Major Developments page. Also on the Emeritus News homepage, grocery chain Albertsons agrees to pay $8.9 million to settle a race and national origin discrimination lawsuit. Federal officials arrest 30 people in a sting involving $61 million worth of fraudulent Medicare claims, and Health and Human Services announces a $27 million program to help states care for chronically ill elderly patients. The latest on the biggest issues and public policy at emeritusnews.com. And live 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on the Emeritus News channel at livestream.com. That's an Emeritus News Brief. I'm Lynn Houston.